Yeah.
House of Ashes.
La vende. La vende. La banda de Bandai la vende, ya muy inclusivo. A ver. A ver, ¿qué nos traes, Bandai? No me decepciones. La vende, chiques. Ahora falta que presenten este juego nomás, es la cagada. El Dark Picture presenta. Ay, 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 tengo miedo.
An ancient horror has awoken from its slumber and is hungry for blood. Shall we see how many have fallen into shadow?
Satellite sweeps of the war zone have uncovered what appears to be an underground storage facility. But I strongly suspect it's where chemical weapons are hidden, so we need to move fast.
Ready to go dark.
To descend into the unknown alone is extremely brave.
Man out, hold fire.
Or extremely foolish.
We're gonna psyop this shit.
Brothers in arms, or will it be a case of each man for himself?
Down, get down! They're up on the ridge! Return fire!
You teeter on the edge of an abyss. Your survival depends on the choices you make. They will be as a compass, guiding you through the unknown.
Where on God's green earth have we landed?
What nightmare have these luckless souls fallen into?
You keep lookout.
Lookout? Lookout for what?
One by one, their lights will be snuffed out. Unless you can find the means to save them.
Es que ya vi ese tráiler, ya no me emociona.
Swallowed
We have to move, let's go.
by the void. Will you find the path to salvation? Or be lost in the darkness forever?
La casa de Ash.
We're here at Supermassive to talk about the next game in the Dark Pictures anthology, House of Ashes. And I'm joined by exec producer Dan. How you doing?
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Right,
Really cool.
so let's start at the very start. We're going to be talking about House of Ashes for most of the interview, but for those that don't know, tell us about the Dark Pictures anthology.
The Dark Pictures is a series of narrative, story-driven, branching horror stories. Each one is standalone. They each tell a different story, completely separated from the others, but within the same universe, so there is connection between them all. House of Ashes is set at the end of the Iraq War in 2003, with links 4,000 years ago that set the story up.
So tell us more about the theme and themes, I suppose, within House of Ashes.
It starts off with a military unit.
Ronaldinho
Gaucho.
Gaucho.
That can look for weapons of mass destruction on the ground. They think they've identified something in the Zagros Mountains in Iraq, and then as part of that, they come into conflict with an Iraqi unit. There's a pitched firefight, and then the two groups are plunged underground. There's an earthquake of some sort, and it's revealed that there's a hidden temple underground. These big massive structures, but these different groups, they're all separated. Radio contact is lost, and they're submerged in this black darkness.
Where on God's green earth have we landed?
And then they're going to start hearing things and seeing things, and people are going to start disappearing.
What the f just happened?
So this time, it's a very real threat.
All of the Dark Pictures games, they all pull something from real life or from history, from fact. What's the case with the myth or historical part of House of Ashes?
So we love looking at and reading myths and legends and stories and doing our research. And we know our fans love it as well, because there's something that they can link into afterwards. And I love doing that when I'm playing games or watching movies myself. So this one's set 4,000 years ago, the Akkadian Empire, and this terrible evil that happened. We had this self-proclaimed god king, Naram Sin, and he essentially cursed his people. He sacked this temple and brought famine and devastation to his people. And so a lot of the history is lost, but we've done a lot of research about it, and then we had a lot of happy accidents that linked into the story we wanted to tell. And the fun thing for us is
No se enoje, una entrevista con los desarrolladores.
We get to twist it, and obviously we've made our own truth from it.
At the end of the sneak peek, the trailer, we saw monsters. Tell us a bit more about what's going on there.
The military unit that you're playing as, they don't really know what they're coming up against. They're not human, they're bigger, they're larger, they're faster. The team aren't going to know if there's one or two of them or hundreds or thousands of them. And that's kind of the threat with this. You know, they've got guns, maybe they could try and take one of them down. But maybe there's another one around the corner, or maybe there's a group of them, and maybe they're going to get ambushed.
Maybe they're like a cluster.
Exactly,
and
yeah,
they all pop
a
out at
nest,
once.
as it were.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun to work on and see these things move around and how horrific they can be. They're different to us. They perceive the world in a different way. Getting little snippets of it in the darkness, and did I see that? Was it something that moved? Or is it actually just one of the other soldiers that's stuck in the catacombs?
Who's there?
We like to try and misdirect people on things, you know, that did you see something, did you not? And that's a great thing within horror, that you think you're going to be scared right now, and we're not going to scare you now. We'll scare you in a minute when you're not expecting it.
It's always coming.
Yeah, always.
So should we expect a huge amount of peril in the game?
Definitely. We love to do it. You know, it's fun for us to work on. As horrific as it is, and we know that our fans love it as well. So yeah, there's at least 60 unique deaths, and there's a whole ton of variation on that as well. So Merwin and some of the others, you're going to see different things happening to them depending on how you play it out. You know, getting ripped and shredded and torn, and because there's a firefight, there's going to be bullets flying as well, and all kinds of stuff. And it's not just.
Sería la cagada que hable de este juego nomás por media hora.
You know, lots of blood.
No creo.
It sounds absolutely terrifying. I'm in.
No creo.
Pretty bad.
What differences have you made?
¿Por qué
or
censuraron
changes
el
have you
Pretty
made to the
Fucking Bad?
gameplay and
Dios,
mechanics for
¿qué
House of
pasa?
Ashes?
¿Por qué lo
We're always
censuran?
evolving the Dark Pictures. We listen to a lot of the feedback from our fans, and also our team, what they want to do, how they want to push things forward. So we tried some stuff in Little Hope with you know, more camera control, 360 cameras at certain parts, and we've really leaned on that again, and it really works well. In House of Ashes, lots of the game is set underground, and so these sort of corridors which are really tight and oppressive.
Creepy.
Yeah, indeed. So we've had to learn, because you take away the fixed cameras, and that takes away some opportunities for horror. But we've had to learn new tricks to scare people and, you know, ramp up the tension and you know, the chance for jump scares, which we know some people love. We've also got a new torch mechanic, so you know, it's military themed. So these guys are going to be walking around with weapons, with torches mounted on them. We love the lighting that we do, this sort of really inky black darkness that we have, and sort of the contrast to the bright areas. And so you're going to need to lean on that torch to allow you to see where you're going, what the threat is, and that kind of stuff. We've also done things like added difficulty settings to this game. So in Little Hope we added you know, QTE warning icons as an example, and we've got some really good positive feedback about that, but also some people want to turn that off. We want to allow you to play the game in your way. So with our accessibility settings and difficulty settings, if you want to have a more casual experience, you can change those settings. Still, most of your characters are going to end up dead, but you know, that's
Spoilers,
what happens,
yeah,
indeed.
but that's what we're coming for. That's
Yeah.
okay, we can deal with it. So I've got to ask, what was it like working with Ashley?
So Ashley was fantastic. She researched Rachel. She understood her when she came on the set, which is so refreshing. She knew her inside out. And Rachel is a flawed character, so she brought that through so fantastically. The rest of the cast were fantastic as well.
When we were looking for Joey, Salim helped me.
You didn't tell me this because...
You'd flip your shit.
We want you to connect to these characters and understand them as humans. We want them to seem real because they're real to us. You know, we spend a long time designing them, and I don't mind if you hate any one individual character, because you don't like everyone in real life. But maybe you'll like them when you see the journey they go on.
Maybe you'll like them.
Aguante, chavos, aguanten. Ahorita viene, ahorita viene. Tranquilos. Todos quieren ver tráiler.
We want you to try and save them.
Aguanten,
We know that
aguanten.
some people want to get everyone killed.
Acá dejen
Well,
acá
that's
mi
fine,
causa
that's
hablar.
Their playthrough, that's what they want to do. But you know, can you get everyone out alive?
Can you
Save
dig
as many
it,
as you
sucker?
So every
Espere.
game better see that.
Indeed,
Goes on
yeah.
forever. I like
Yeah.
that. So, last question. Favorite scene?
Favourite scenes? So, Salim, our Iraqi soldier, and Jason Kolchak, one of the Marines that's there. There's a way that can play out, and a sort of contest between them, and you can make it go in a number of different ways.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
It's really emotional. Seeing them film it, I was lucky enough to be there, and then seeing that come through in game, I think we've got something there. I think that's gold. And then, of course, I love scaring people, so I love the jump scares. I love the moments of tension that we bring. We can't hold you in that moment, so we've got some fantastic jokes in there as well to allow you to relax for a moment before we scare you again.
To take your mind off
Yeah.
the imminent threat. I like that. Dan, thank you so much. This has been really cool to talk about, and I'm sure, you know, I'm excited and terrified in equal part, and everyone else is just excited, I'm sure of it.
And it's been a real pleasure to speak to you, and I can't wait to get it into people's hands.
It's going to happen.
Ahí está, la casa de Ash. Ok. Y se acabó. Está huevón, no me dejes hablar.
Before we dive in the House of Ashes, see how scared you got. Of course, we
Güey,
want to thank
¿eso fue
Razer
todo?
for being one of
¿Por qué sale este pendejo acá?
2021 sponsors, of course, giving us these tired old blades nobody cares about. But this Blade 14, RTX 3080,
Tengo miedo, man.
Of course, the Razer.
I'm taking that.
Thank you so much. No, I'm taking that.
Okay, we'll fight.
Okay, well,
We've done it before.
you know what? I'll take the hand-me-down. I'll be little brother. I'll take the outdated. Nobody wants these anymore, right? Doesn't worry. Golden Boy, you just saw the Dark Pictures anthology.
Yeah.
Your first glimpse of it. We have some reactions from you.
Oh, you do?
They were recording you. They said you were a little scared, not terrified.
Not terrified, thankfully, because it was just a
Queremos juegos, chingada madre.
Here we go.
fine.
See,
And there's my face.
You're
and
unsettled for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, you don't like that. You don't
yeah,
like
don't like that.
No,
Not a fan of that one either. Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, I think that was one of the jumps.
Güey, ¿eso fue todo?
Picture anthology at House of Ashes. So Supermassive Games UK making that one, being produced by Bandai.
Wait.
I
Aguanta.
have fallen off. The Dark Pictures anthology, very guilty. Persia, what about you? What's your experience with Dark Pictures?
I played Man in the Van, which was interesting because I hadn't really played Until Dawn, so I didn't know what to expect even hopping into
El del
that,
medio siempre
but
para enojado, pero creo que nos están
there was
hueveando.
sort of satisfaction kind of going through it all and seeing everyone die.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking about how they were talking about all of the bloody deaths coming in House of Ashes. I'm like, let's see if we can run this back.
I was gonna say, because the dev was saying that, like, obviously there are people who you're gonna want to kill, or at least there are always players who are gonna try and kill everyone.
El del medio siempre para enojado.
Who will try and save as many as they can, so I can't really identify. Tam, what's your experience with these ones?
Yeah, I played a bunch of Man of Medan, and I went to like a kind of like spoke to the developers behind it, and I think the thing about it for me currently is the ambition that the developers have for it, especially coming off Until Dawn and
Pues
the
eso fue
great
todo.
acclaim that they got for that, and what they've executed.
¿Y dónde está
has been
Digimon?
completely at odds with each other.
¿Dónde
I
está
feel like
Blue
they've got
Protocol?
the spark of something, and it's just not
Dragon
quite
Ball?
hitting in terms of one thing or another. Sometimes it's like the writing's not all there. Sometimes it's like the atmosphere's not quite there, or like the decision-making moments aren't perhaps amazing. This one definitely
Scarlet
feels like
Nexus, ahí
it's
está.
starting to look like it could be the most interesting, especially thematically, narratively. So I'm really excited
Neta, no,
to
no, no,
jump
no,
back
no, no.
into it and see how they deal with it. Like the idea of a kind of like military setting where this weird supernatural thing is happening, and how
¿Dónde
that
está
impacts
Bleach?
the people around it, the mental states of them, and then them knowing that in terms of gameplay they needed to shake it up a bit. I think that is really good, a really good sign.
Tengo la cara de caradura de
It's
misterio,
a
eh.
new, entry in that series. So I am definitely more inclined to keep an eye on it and check it out when it comes out for sure.
Yeah, I think to your point there, if you think about Until Dawn, I remember when that one was announced, came out 2015, I remember it being announced like
A mí
way,
es que
way,
el
way
Tamor está
ahead.
enojado,
It
eh.
was very, very different. I think I remember it was like a PlayStation Move game, like you use the PS Move as sort of your torch or flashlight, and then ultimately like the way that game evolved. And so maybe Supermassive have learned something, and they're just kind of making these shorter experiences that are still, full to the brim of player
Otro
choice.
arrecho quiere ver Curie 2.
Less ambitious in all the
Otro pendejo, pon Curie 2, dice, puta qué pendejo. Sí te he dicho chiste. Sí te he dicho chiste. Che tu madre.
So it's good to see, and also means that they can be a little bit quicker when it comes to reacting to
Curie's
things like
dots.
player feedback. As you can see,
Qué
they're changing
arrecho,
accessibility
eh.
options, which is always a fantastic thing to hear
Ay,
some
ay, ay.
developers do. But also changing the way that they're adding like difficulty settings, and they're changing the camera stuff. 'Cause
Curies 2, puta
I
qué
loved Until
pendejo.
Dawn in the way that it
Che
had
tu
like
madre.
this filmic quality. It was every shot seemed very, very deliberate, and it's obviously a throwback to something like Resident Evil. where you sort of have to
Bueno,
take
pues
control
eso
of,
fue
like,
todo el
the
evento de
different
Bandai,
cameras.
chavos. No hubo ni
But that
mierda.
does mean that, like,
Creo que
some
la
players
cara
end
que
up
me
being
representa es
more
la de
so I'm
Tamur.
intrigued to see them experiment with a
Como que
free
qué pedo que
camera
acabo de ver. Me acabo de
inside.
levantar
The
temprano
story
para ver solamente un
hasn't
gameplay de 10
particularly grabbed me
minutos y una...
just
Bueno,
yet,
un gameplay de unos minutos y una
because
conversación larga.
I've never heard of the Akkadian Empire.
Eh...
British schooling, unfortunately, did not go
No
that
sé.
far, but it sounds like
Me
it
representa el
sounds
Tamur,
intriguing.
la cara.
Like,
Ve, no sonríe, güey. Está como que...
things are all bloody and full of betrayal. I love that stuff. Persia, what do you make of the setting and
Bueno.
the fact that actually, like, I didn't realize
Se acabó, güey. Ya no hay nada más que mostrar. Se acabó. Se acabó. Ya, it's over, me vais a dormir.